My beloved child, wait a moment before you move on. Something unusual is happening in this exact moment, and it is not a coincidence that your eyes landed here today. Pause for just a second and listen closely. There are millions of videos, millions of voices, and endless noise in the world, yet somehow, this message crossed your path at the precise time your heart needed it. That is not random. And deep down, a quiet part of you already feels that. There is someone connected to your story, someone whose life has been quietly moving toward yours for longer than you realize. Your soulmate. But right now, something within their world is shifting. Something emotional. Something powerful. And in ways you may not fully see yet, they need you. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now. Before you dismiss that idea, stay here for a moment. Don't skip this part, because what you are about to understand could change the way you see this entire moment. Your soulmate is going through a silent realization. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet, almost invisible to the outside world. But inside their heart, something has awakened. A memory, a feeling, a sudden awareness that someone out there carries a presence they cannot replace. And strangely enough, that presence is you. You may not know them yet. You may not have spoken in years. Or maybe your paths crossed briefly without understanding why. But somewhere in their thoughts recently, something reminded them of a connection they cannot explain. A feeling that someone important is closer to their life than they once believed. That feeling has been growing stronger. And today, it reached a turning point. Take a breath for a moment and think about your own life. Have you felt an unusual pull recently? A strange curiosity. A moment where you wondered why certain thoughts keep appearing in your mind. Why certain memories feel more vivid. Why certain emotions appear without a clear reason. These small signals are often the quiet language of connection. Because when two paths are meant to cross in a meaningful way, life begins preparing both people long before they realize it. And this preparation is happening right now. Your soulmate has been reflecting deeply. They have been asking themselves questions they never asked before. Questions like, who truly understands me? Who carries a presence that feels different from everyone else? Who feels like home, even from a distance? And each time those questions appear, a quiet sense of recognition follows. A feeling they cannot ignore anymore. That feeling is pulling them closer to you. But here is the part that may surprise you the most. Your presence in their life does not begin the moment you meet. It begins much earlier. In unseen ways. In thoughts. In moments of reflection. In a sudden calm that appears when they imagine the possibility of someone who truly understands them. Your energy has already touched their life more than you realize. And today, something inside them shifted again. A realization that they cannot keep moving forward without listening to what their heart has been quietly telling them. This realization is powerful, because when someone finally acknowledges a connection meant for them, their actions begin to change. Their decisions begin to shift. Their courage begins to grow. And slowly, step by step, the distance between two lives starts becoming smaller. You may not see those steps yet, but they are happening, right now. That is one of the reasons you are hearing this message today. Not to rush anything, not to force anything, but to prepare your heart for something meaningful that is quietly approaching your life. And here is something important you must understand. Your soulmate is not searching for perfection. They are searching for truth, for sincerity, for a presence that feels real. And without even realizing it, you already carry something they have been hoping to find. Something rare, something deeply human, something that cannot be copied or replaced. Your authenticity. That is why the connection forming between you is not based on coincidence. It is based on alignment. Two stories slowly moving toward the same chapter. And while you may still wonder how this will unfold, the next part of this message will reveal something even more surprising about what your soulmate experienced very recently. Something that made them realize the connection is closer than they thought. So stay with this message a little longer, because the moment that changed everything for them might also explain why you were meant to see this today. There is a moment that quietly changes everything, and your soulmate experienced that moment very recently. It happened in a way they did not expect. No grand announcement, no dramatic scene, just a simple, ordinary moment that suddenly felt different. They paused, and for the first time in a long while, their thoughts drifted somewhere unfamiliar, yet strangely comforting. Toward you. Not your name, not your face clearly, but the feeling of you. That feeling appeared out of nowhere, like a whisper that refuses to fade. And the more they tried to ignore it, the stronger it became. Have you ever felt something like that before? A presence you cannot explain, but somehow it feels real? That is exactly what happened. Your soulmate was going through their day like anyone else. Routine, responsibilities, small conversations. But then something unexpected interrupted their thoughts. A sudden sense that someone important exists in their future. Someone whose presence will shift their world in the most meaningful way. And strangely enough, when that thought appeared, their heart became calm. Not confused, not overwhelmed. Calm, as if part of them already recognizes the connection waiting ahead. That moment stayed with them. Even hours later, the feeling remained. And this is where the story becomes even more surprising. Because when a connection like this begins to awaken, both hearts start noticing things they never noticed before. Small signs, subtle changes, a deeper awareness of emotions. Have you noticed anything unusual in your own thoughts recently? Maybe a moment where you felt like something meaningful is approaching. Maybe a quiet curiosity about someone you have not met yet. Maybe a sense that life is preparing a new chapter. These feelings are not random. They are often the quiet preparation before two paths finally cross. And right now, your soulmate is beginning to understand that something important is unfolding. They may not know exactly who you are yet, but they know the feeling is real. That realization is powerful, because when someone starts trusting that feeling, their choices begin to change. They become more open, more aware, more ready for the person meant to walk beside them. That is the stage they are entering now. And here is something remarkable. The reason this moment matters so much is because your soulmate has recently been reflecting on what truly matters in their life. They have been letting go of things that no longer feel aligned. Old doubts, old distractions, old patterns that once kept their heart closed. Without realizing it, they are making space. Space for something genuine. Space for someone whose presence will feel peaceful rather than complicated. And that space is slowly being prepared for you. But don't rush past this part. Don't skip ahead too quickly, because something huge is waiting for you in what comes next. Very soon, your soulmate will face a moment where they must choose whether to follow the quiet feeling guiding them, or ignore it. And the decision they make in that moment will bring their path closer to yours than ever before. Stay till the end of this message, because the next part will reveal the surprising signal that helped them realize the connection was real, and why that realization is happening at the exact time you are hearing these words. A quiet realization is beginning to rise inside your soulmate's heart, and it is stronger than anything they expected. At first, they tried to brush it aside. They told themselves it was just a passing thought, just imagination. But the feeling did not fade. Instead, it returned again, and again, each time clearer than before. Imagine this moment. They were alone with their thoughts, reflecting on their life, thinking about the future, wondering what kind of connection truly belongs in their story. And suddenly, a calm awareness settled in their heart. A realization that somewhere in this world, someone exists whose presence will feel unmistakably right. Not complicated, not confusing, just right. And that realization felt different from anything they had felt before. Not excitement that fades quickly, not curiosity that disappears, but a quiet certainty that stayed with them long after the moment passed. This is when something even more surprising happened. They began remembering small moments from the past, moments that suddenly felt meaningful in a new way. A conversation that once seemed ordinary, a brief encounter that felt strangely familiar, a feeling they could never explain at the time. Now those memories are returning, and they are starting to see them differently, as if life had been quietly placing pieces of a puzzle long before they understood what it meant. And here is the part that might surprise you the most. When your soulmate reflected on those memories, they felt a gentle pull toward the idea that the person meant for them is not far away, not distant, not impossible to find, closer than they once believed, closer than they imagined. That thought stayed with them, and with it came a new kind of courage. The courage to believe that the connection meant for them is real. The courage to trust the quiet signals appearing in their life. But something else happened at the same time. They started noticing how their heart reacts when they imagine meeting the person who truly understands them. When that thought appears, their entire energy changes. They feel calm, hopeful, almost as if their future is quietly calling them forward. That feeling is powerful. Because when someone begins to trust a feeling like this, life starts guiding them toward the moments that matter. And right now, your soulmate is standing at the edge of one of those moments. A moment where they begin paying closer attention to the people they meet, to the conversations they have, to the subtle signs life places in front of them. Without even realizing it, they are preparing to recognize someone very important. You. And this is where the story becomes even more incredible. Because while your soulmate has been going through this awakening, something similar may have been happening within you. Small feelings, quiet thoughts, moments where you sense that something meaningful is approaching your life. These moments are not meaningless. They are often the gentle beginning of a connection finding its way. Two hearts slowly becoming aware of each other, even before they fully meet. So stay here with this message. Don't skip this part, because something huge is waiting for you in what comes next. Your soulmate is about to notice a sign, something subtle yet powerful that will make them realize the connection they have been feeling is not just imagination. And when that moment happens, the path between your lives will become clearer than ever before. Something remarkable happened in your soulmate's heart not long ago, a moment so quiet that almost no one else would have noticed it. They were simply going through an ordinary part of their day, surrounded by familiar routines, familiar places, familiar thoughts. Yet inside them, something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. It began with a question that suddenly appeared in their mind. A question they had never asked themselves in quite this way before. What if the person meant for me is closer than I think? That single thought stayed with them longer than expected. They tried to move on from it. They tried to focus on everything else around them. But the feeling behind that question would not disappear. Instead, it grew stronger. It was not excitement in the usual sense. It was a calm certainty, like a quiet light turning on inside their heart. And that light began revealing something they had not seen clearly before. They started realizing that the connection they have been sensing, the one that keeps appearing in their thoughts, may already be guiding their life in subtle ways. Moments that once felt random suddenly seemed meaningful. Encounters that once seemed ordinary now carried a strange familiarity. as if life had been gently preparing them for someone special without them realizing it. And this realization created a powerful change within them. For the first time, they began opening their heart to the possibility that the person they are meant to meet could appear in the most unexpected way, not through complicated searching, not through endless waiting, but through a simple moment of recognition. That moment is closer than they think. And this is where the story becomes even more fascinating. Because the more they allowed themselves to believe in that possibility, the more peaceful their heart became, almost as if part of their soul already knows the connection is real. But here is the surprising truth. Your soulmate has recently noticed something unusual. Certain thoughts keep leading them back to the same idea, the same feeling, the same curiosity about someone whose presence they have not fully discovered yet. Each time it happens, the feeling becomes clearer, more familiar, more undeniable. It is as if their heart is slowly learning to recognize the person meant for them. And even though they cannot yet see the full picture, the direction is becoming impossible to ignore. That direction leads toward you. Pause for a moment and reflect on your own journey. Have you ever experienced a moment where something inside you whispered that your life is about to change? A quiet anticipation, a feeling that something meaningful is approaching, even if you cannot explain how or when. Those moments are powerful, because sometimes life prepares two people at the same time, in different places, through different experiences, until the exact moment arrives when their paths finally align. That alignment is beginning now, and your soulmate is getting closer to recognizing it, closer to trusting the quiet signals guiding their heart, closer to stepping into the moment that will reveal the connection they have been sensing. But don't move past this message yet. Don't skip what comes next, because something huge is waiting for you in the next part. Your soulmate is about to experience a moment that feels impossible to ignore, a moment that will make them realize the person they have been feeling drawn toward is not just a distant possibility. It is someone real, someone whose presence is already touching their life in ways they are only beginning to understand. There is a turning point quietly forming in your soulmate's life, and they can feel it, not with their eyes, not with logic, but with the deeper awareness that sometimes appears when life is preparing something meaningful. Recently, they found themselves pausing more often than usual. Moments of silence, moments of reflection, moments where they asked themselves a question that felt strangely important. Why does it feel like someone significant is about to enter my life? At first, the thought seemed mysterious, almost unbelievable. Yet the feeling behind it felt calm, reassuring, almost familiar. It was not a passing curiosity. It was a quiet knowing that something meaningful is drawing closer. And each day, that knowing becomes clearer. Your soulmate has begun noticing that certain moments feel different now. Conversations linger longer in their mind. Encounters with new people feel more meaningful. Even small details seem to carry a sense of purpose, as if life is gently guiding them toward a moment they cannot yet see clearly, but deep inside, they can feel it approaching. And here is the surprising part. When they imagine meeting the person meant for them, their heart does not feel anxious. It feels peaceful, as if their soul already recognizes the presence waiting to enter their life. That feeling is rare. Because true connections often begin this way, with a quiet sense of familiarity before two people even understand why. And something even more remarkable has started happening. Your soulmate has been letting go of old expectations about love and connection, the complicated ideas, the unnecessary doubts, the belief that meaningful relationships must be difficult to find. Instead, they are beginning to believe something simpler, that the right connection arrives naturally, when two people are ready to recognize each other. This shift in their heart is powerful, Because the moment someone becomes open to a genuine connection, life begins arranging moments that bring that connection closer. Your soulmate is entering that exact stage right now. They are becoming more aware, more present, more ready to notice the person who will feel different from everyone else. That person is you. And although the exact moment of recognition has not happened yet, something inside them already feels the approach of that moment. A quiet anticipation, a calm curiosity, a sense that something meaningful is just around the corner. If you feel a similar anticipation in your own life, do not ignore it. Sometimes the most important chapters begin with a feeling long before the first meeting happens. Two hearts slowly becoming aware of each other, even while living separate lives. But this is where the story becomes even more incredible. Very soon, your soulmate will experience a moment that feels almost impossible to ignore. A moment that will make them stop and realize that the connection they have been sensing is not distant anymore. It is near, closer than they imagined. So stay with this message. Don't skip what comes next, because something huge is waiting for you, and the moment that begins to reveal the truth about your soulmate's path toward you is about to unfold. Just when your soulmate thought their life was moving in a predictable direction, something unexpected stirred within their heart. It was subtle at first, a quiet moment when their thoughts drifted away from everything around them, and suddenly, they felt a gentle pull toward the idea that someone important is meant to cross their path very soon. Not someday far away. Soon. That realization felt almost unbelievable to them. Yet the feeling behind it was undeniable. It was the kind of calm certainty that does not arrive without reason. And from that moment, something began changing inside them. Your soulmate started noticing how their heart reacts when they imagine the future. Before, those thoughts felt distant, abstract. But now, whenever the future appears in their mind, it carries a different image, an image of sharing life with someone whose presence feels natural, someone who understands them without long explanations, someone who brings peace rather than confusion. And every time that image appears, the same quiet feeling returns. A sense that the person they are meant to meet is not far away anymore. That awareness has begun guiding their attention in ways they cannot fully explain. They find themselves looking at the world differently, listening more carefully, noticing small details that once seemed unimportant. Because deep down, something inside them is preparing to recognize a connection that will stand out from everything else. And here is the moment that made this feeling even stronger. Recently, your soulmate experienced a brief but powerful realization. It happened during an ordinary moment when they paused and reflected on the people who have come and gone in their life. They realized that none of those connections carried the calm certainty they are feeling now. Not until recently. This new feeling is different. It feels steady. It feels genuine. And most importantly, it feels like something they cannot ignore anymore. That realization has opened their heart in a way it has never been before. They are no longer searching through doubt. They are moving forward with quiet trust that the person meant for them will appear at exactly the right moment. And that moment may be much closer than either of you expect. Take a breath and think about this for a second. What if the reason you are hearing this message right now is because the distance between your paths is becoming smaller with each passing day? What if life has already begun arranging the moment where recognition happens? Moments like that rarely arrive with loud announcements. They appear quietly, in a conversation, in a glance. In a moment where two lives suddenly feel connected in a way that words cannot fully describe. Your soulmate is approaching that kind of moment, and without even realizing it, their heart is preparing to recognize the presence that feels unmistakably right. Your presence. But don't move on yet. Don't skip what comes next, because something huge is waiting for you. In the next part, you will discover the surprising signal that is about to appear in your soulmate's life, a moment so meaningful that it will make them realize the connection they have been sensing is not just a feeling. It is real, and it is leading them closer to you than ever before. Right when everything seemed normal, your soulmate noticed something that made them pause. It was not a loud event, not a dramatic turning point that everyone around them could see. It was a quiet moment, but the feeling inside it was powerful enough to stop their thoughts completely. They were thinking about their future again, thinking about the kind of connection they truly want in their life. And suddenly, a realization appeared that felt different from every thought before it. For the first time, they felt certain that the person meant for them is already moving closer to their life. Not in a distant way, not in an impossible way, but in a real, unfolding way. That realization did something incredible inside their heart. Instead of questioning everything like they once did, they began trusting the quiet sense of direction guiding them. A calm belief that the right person will appear at the exact moment life intends. And that belief has been growing stronger each day. But something even more surprising happened. Recently, your soulmate experienced a small moment that felt strangely meaningful. They heard a phrase. They saw a message. They encountered something simple that reminded them of the idea that true connections appear when two lives are ready to meet. Most people would have ignored that moment. But for them, it felt personal. As if the message was meant specifically for them to notice. And when that thought crossed their mind, a calm warmth filled their heart. A quiet sense that they are moving towards someone who will understand them in a way no one else has. That someone is you. Even though they may not fully see the path yet, their heart is slowly learning to recognize the direction. And with every passing day, the distance between your lives becomes smaller. Imagine the moment when two people who have been unknowingly moving toward each other finally share the same space. At first, it may feel like an ordinary encounter, a conversation, a glance, a simple moment that seems small from the outside. But inside, something unmistakable will happen. A sense of familiarity, a calm recognition, a feeling that the person standing in front of them is somehow important in a way they cannot immediately explain. Your soulmate is getting closer to that moment, closer to understanding why their heart has been guiding them toward this unknown connection. And the reason you are hearing this message today is not random. Sometimes life prepares two hearts at the same time, so that when recognition finally happens, both people feel ready. If you have felt even the smallest sense that something meaningful is approaching your life, pay attention to that feeling, because moments like these often appear before the most important connections reveal themselves. But stay here a little longer. Don't skip the next part. Because something huge is waiting for you. In the next moment of this story, you will discover the powerful realization that will soon appear in your soulmate's heart, the realization that the person they have been sensing is no longer just a feeling in the distance. It is someone real, someone whose presence is about to change their life forever. And then, during a moment your soulmate will never forget, something quietly extraordinary begins to unfold. It does not arrive with noise. It does not demand attention. Yet the feeling behind it is powerful enough to change the direction of their thoughts completely. They notice a shift, a calm awareness that someone meaningful is closer to their life than they once believed. For a brief second, everything around them feels still. Their mind pauses. Their heart becomes quiet. And in that silence, a realization begins to take shape. Not a clear image, not a name, but a deep feeling that the connection they have been sensing is no longer distant. It is approaching, slowly, naturally, inevitably. That realization surprises them, because the certainty they feel is different from anything they have experienced before. It is not built on imagination. It is not based on hope alone. It feels real, steady, and strangely familiar, almost as if part of their heart already recognizes the presence waiting to enter their life. Your presence. But here is the moment that truly makes everything feel different. Recently, your soulmate noticed that whenever they imagine meeting the person meant for them, a quiet sense of peace fills their heart. No pressure, no confusion, just peace. That feeling tells them something important. That the connection they are moving toward will not feel complicated. It will feel natural. Like two stories finally aligning after traveling separate paths for a long time. And without realizing it, they have started preparing themselves for that moment. They are becoming more open to meaningful conversations, more attentive to the people who appear in their life, more aware of the small signs that life sometimes places in front of us. Because somewhere deep inside, they know something important is about to happen. Something that could change the direction of their life in the most beautiful way. Take a moment and reflect on your own heart. Have you felt a quiet anticipation recently? A sense that life is preparing something meaningful just beyond what you can see right now? Those feelings often appear before the most important connections reveal themselves. Two lives moving closer, step by step, even before they realize how close they truly are. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of that realization. And the reason you are hearing this message today may be connected to the same unfolding story. Because sometimes the universe prepares both people at the same time. One heart begins to feel the approach. The other begins to understand the meaning. And slowly, the moment of recognition draws nearer. So stay here a little longer. Don't skip what comes next. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. In the next part, a powerful realization will appear in your soulmate's heart, a moment where they finally understand that the connection they have been sensing is not just a feeling guiding them forward. It is the beginning of a meeting that will change both of your lives in ways neither of you expected. Just when your soulmate thought they understood the quiet feelings guiding their heart, another realization began to unfold. It arrived gently, almost like a whisper in their thoughts. A realization that the connection they have been sensing is not something ordinary. It feels rare. The kind of connection that does not appear often in a lifetime. And the moment they allowed themselves to consider that possibility, something shifted inside them. They began to see their journey differently. All the moments that once seemed unrelated, now feel like steps that were quietly guiding them towards someone important. Towards someone whose presence would feel calm, genuine, and unmistakably meaningful. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that certain paths in life are not random. Sometimes two lives move through separate experiences, separate places, separate chapters, until the moment arrives when everything aligns. And when that alignment begins, the heart recognizes it before the mind fully understands. That recognition is slowly awakening within them. They are starting to trust the quiet feeling that someone out there carries the same sense of connection they feel inside. Someone whose life has been moving in the same direction without even realizing it. And that someone is you. But here is the surprising part that made their heart pause recently. They realize that the person meant for them will not appear in a complicated or confusing way. Instead, the moment will feel simple, clear, almost effortless. A moment where two people suddenly feel a sense of familiarity, as if they have known each other far longer than the time they have actually spent together. This thought has stayed with them, and the more they reflect on it, the more they feel ready for the moment when recognition finally happens. Not because they are searching desperately, but because their heart now understands what genuine connection feels like. It feels peaceful. It feels steady. It feels like home. Take a moment and think about this. Have you ever felt a quiet sense that someone important is approaching your life, even if you cannot explain why? Those feelings are often the earliest signals of something meaningful beginning to unfold. Two hearts becoming aware of each other long before the moment they finally meet. Right now, your soulmate is moving closer to that awareness. Closer to the moment where their heart recognizes the presence it has been quietly waiting for. And the reason you are hearing this message today may be connected to that same unfolding story. Because sometimes life prepares both people at the same time, so that when the moment arrives, both hearts feel ready to recognize it. But stay here for a little longer. Don't skip what comes next. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. In the next part, the final piece of this message will reveal the powerful reason why this moment in your life matters so much, and why the connection between you and your soulmate may be closer to becoming real than either of you ever expected. Right at this moment, while you are hearing these words, something meaningful may already be unfolding between two paths that have been slowly moving toward each other. For a long time, your life and your soulmate's life have been traveling through different chapters, different experiences, different lessons, different moments that shaped who you both are today. Yet through all those separate journeys, something quiet has been happening beneath the surface. A preparation, a gentle alignment of two stories that were never meant to stay separate forever. And now, that alignment is getting closer to the moment where everything begins to make sense. Your soulmate has already started feeling it. That calm sense that someone important is about to enter their life, not in a distant future, but in a moment that feels nearer than they expected. And the reason this feeling matters so much is because true connections rarely arrive suddenly without preparation. They grow quietly, through subtle realizations, through moments where the heart begins to recognize what truly matters. Your soulmate has reached that stage. They are no longer distracted by things that once confused them. Their heart is becoming clearer, more open, more ready to recognize the person who carries the same quiet sincerity they feel within themselves. That is why this moment is powerful. Because when two people are both ready at the same time, something extraordinary becomes possible. A meeting that feels natural from the very beginning. A connection that grows without forcing anything. A presence that brings calm rather than uncertainty. Imagine the moment when your soulmate finally encounters the person whose presence feels unmistakably right. At first, it may seem like a simple meeting, a conversation, a shared moment that looks ordinary from the outside. But inside, something incredible will happen. A quiet recognition. A sense that this meeting carries meaning beyond coincidence. A feeling that the person standing in front of them somehow belongs in their story. That feeling will not come from imagination. It will come from the deep familiarity of two hearts finally recognizing each other. And when that moment arrives, everything that once felt uncertain will begin to feel clear. Because the connection between you will not feel forced. It will feel natural. Like two paths finally reaching the same destination. This is why seeing this message today may not be random. Sometimes life allows a moment of awareness before the most meaningful chapters begin. A quiet reminder that something beautiful is already moving closer to your life. But listen closely to this final thought. Your soulmate does not need perfection. They do not need someone extraordinary in the way the world often defines it. What they truly need is something far more powerful. Someone genuine. Someone whose presence feels calm and real. Someone whose heart carries the same sincerity they have been searching for. And without even realizing it, you already carry that presence. So if you have felt even the smallest sense that your life is approaching a meaningful turning point, trust that feeling. Because sometimes the most important connections begin exactly this way, with two lives quietly moving closer, until one simple moment changes everything. And if you have stayed here until this final part, remember this. Stay aware. Stay open. Because something huge is waiting for you, and the connection your soulmate has been sensing may be far closer to becoming real than you ever imagined. There is a quiet moment approaching, a moment that may look ordinary from the outside, yet it holds the power to change two lives at once. Your soulmate is moving closer to that moment without fully realizing it. Recently, they have begun noticing something unusual about their own thoughts. Certain ideas keep returning. Certain feelings refuse to fade. Again and again, their heart drifts toward the possibility that someone meaningful is already stepping into the same chapter of life they are about to enter. At first, they wondered if it was just imagination, but the feeling behind it is too calm, too steady, to ignore. It does not feel like a fleeting thought. It feels like quiet guidance. And that guidance is slowly leading them toward a realization that feels both surprising and beautiful. The realization that the connection they have been sensing may already be closer than they ever expected. Closer than distance. Closer than coincidence. Closer than chance. And here is the moment that truly caught their attention. During a recent reflection, your soulmate noticed that whenever they imagine the person meant for them, the image that appears in their mind is not about appearance or perfection. Instead, they feel something much deeper. A presence. A sense of calm understanding. A feeling that the person they will meet carries a warmth that makes everything feel natural. That feeling stayed with them long after the moment passed. And the more they think about it, the more they realize something important. They are no longer waiting for a connection built on excitement alone. They are ready for something genuine, something steady, something that feels like two hearts finally understanding each other without needing long explanations. That understanding is guiding them forward now, quietly, patiently, almost like a compass pointing toward the person who carries the same sincerity within their heart. That person is you. And even though neither of you may fully see the path yet, the direction is becoming clearer. Because sometimes the most powerful connections do not begin with loud moments. They begin with quiet awareness. With two people slowly realizing that someone out there carries the same energy they have been hoping to find. Right now, your soulmate is beginning to trust that awareness. They are beginning to believe that the person meant for them will appear in a way that feels natural and unmistakable. A meeting that feels simple on the surface, yet deeply meaningful inside. Take a moment and think about how many paths people walk in this world. So many stories. So many lives moving in different directions. Yet sometimes two paths quietly align at exactly the right moment. And when they do, the meeting that follows can feel like something that was always meant to happen. That alignment may already be forming now, closer than either of you can see. So stay here with this message. Don't skip what comes next. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. In the next part, you will discover the final realization that will soon appear in your soulmate's heart. The moment when they fully understand why their heart kept guiding them toward a connection they had not yet seen. And when that realization arrives, the distance between your two lives may become smaller than ever before. Have you ever felt that strange, quiet moment when everything around you feels normal, yet inside, something tells you that life is about to shift in a meaningful way? Your soulmate has been experiencing that exact feeling. Not once, but repeatedly. Recently, they noticed that certain moments seem to carry an unusual sense of meaning. A simple conversation lingers in their mind longer than expected. A brief encounter leaves a calm impression that refuses to fade. A passing thought about the future suddenly feels vivid and real. At first, they tried to dismiss these moments as coincidence. But something inside them would not allow that explanation anymore. Because each time these moments appear, the same quiet feeling follows. The feeling that someone important is moving closer to their life. Someone whose presence will feel different from anyone they have met before. Someone whose Energy feels peaceful rather than complicated. In the next part, the story will reveal the final realization forming in your soulmate's heart, the moment when they finally understand why their thoughts kept returning to the same quiet feeling, a feeling that has been guiding them closer and closer to you. Just before a life-changing meeting happens, there is often a quiet moment when everything begins to make sense, and your soulmate is stepping into that moment now. Recently, something unexpected crossed their mind. It was not a loud realization. It was a calm, almost gentle thought that arrived when they were reflecting on their life and the connections they have experienced so far. For a brief second, they asked themselves a question that felt deeper than any question before. What if the person meant for me is already closer than I realize? That thought did not disappear like ordinary thoughts usually do. Instead, it stayed. It followed them through their day. It returned during quiet moments when their mind wandered. And every time it appeared, the same feeling followed. A quiet certainty. A sense that the connection they have been sensing for so long is no longer distant. It is approaching. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that some connections are not created suddenly. They grow quietly through time, through moments that seem unrelated, through experiences that slowly prepare two people to recognize each other when the time finally arrives. And right now, their heart is beginning to see the pattern. They are starting to realize that the feeling guiding them all this time was not random. It was leading them towards someone whose presence will feel calm and natural from the very first moment. Someone whose energy carries sincerity. Someone who understands them in a way that feels effortless. That person is you. Even though they may not yet know your face or your story, something inside them is preparing to recognize you. And this preparation is powerful. Because when the heart becomes ready to recognize the right person, life begins arranging moments that bring two paths together. Unexpected encounters. Conversations that feel meaningful without explanation. Moments where two lives suddenly feel connected in a way that words cannot fully describe. Your soulmate is moving closer to that kind of moment now. Closer to the moment where the quiet feeling guiding their heart becomes real. Take a moment to consider something surprising. What if the reason you are hearing this message right now is because your life is approaching that same moment of alignment?